What do I need to let go of in order to have more room in my life for what I really want? That's a quote from the late, great Bob Fraser. Let's talk about streamlining our lives today on Lightly Salted.
Welcome to Lightly Salted. Now let's join your host, Debbie Harmon, for today's podcast.
So this year in January, instead of making a New Year's resolution that I usually forget by February, I decided I would come up with a word that I wanted to live by throughout the year. When my husband and I go on vacation, we always say, "What's our theme for this trip?" We mutually agree on what we expect to get out of the trip. One year, our theme was laughter. We committed to laughing a lot on that trip. And guess what? We did. So I thought, why not have a theme for the new year? I pondered for a moment. And then I thought, well, I'm currently in a major decluttering of my house that was years overdue. So my theme for the year was going to be Streamline. I wanted to examine decisions that I made based on whether or not it fell in line with streamlining or it did not. It's very easy for me to bring things into my life, whether it's physical objects, projects, emotions, and many other things that could derail my theme of streamlining. So when I go shopping or I think of an idea, I filter it through the lens of this word, streamline. I ask myself, will this help me to streamline my life, or will it just bring clutter back into it? For me, it's very difficult to work when I have debris hanging over my head. Whether this debris is an unfinished project, closets that need cleaning out, dishes in the sink that need washing, emotional baggage that needs attention, physical exercise that I've delayed, or whatever is taking up space in my soul. Unfinished to-do lists drive me crazy. Recently, I finished a 4-year project creating a cartoon series called Charlotte Yvette. It was a huge undertaking and something I had never done before. The learning curve was enormous. I had to learn how to animate, create characters from scratch, bring them to life, write their dialogue, create sets, film the scenes, and so forth. 7 cartoon episodes took me 4 years to create by myself. I have no background in animation. I have a little in filmmaking and voiceovers, but everything else to do with this project I had to learn. But as I always say, if God ain't in it, it ain't gonna happen. He leads me every step of the way. I call this a water walking experience, doing amazing things that I never imagined. I live expecting the impossible to happen. Honestly, I love doing the unexpected. I love to challenge myself to learn new things. This turned out to be a great experience. So after my last cartoon was released, I decided to take a break from all things filmmaking. I needed to tend to those mundane household chores that had been on the back burner for many, many years. Now was the time to declutter. My husband had just retired at the end of the last year, so now I could solicit his help with the decluttering process. He hates it as much as I do. We've talked about possibly relocating. However, there are many things in our home that I was not willing to take with us. So the daunting process of getting shed of them, as my great-granddaddy would say, had to take place. No time like the present. Thus, the shedding began. It's an ongoing process and probably will be for the rest of my life. Now, before you think hoarding is my specialty, let me assure you that I give stuff away regularly. I try to clean out my closets at least once a year, but unfortunately, I seem to replenish the empty hangers. I do love to shop. At the beginning of the year, I gave away over 100 pieces of clothing. Yep, that's right, over 100 pieces. And ironically, when I looked in my closet, it didn't look like I had gotten rid of anything. I stood there and looked at how much was left and wondered, how did I fit all those extra clothes in my closet? And this was before I had even bought anything new. Which, by the way, now that I have Streamline as my theme word, I struggle with purchasing anything new. I have to really love it to buy it. I'm a grab-and-go shopper. I'll buy a lot of clothes in one shopping spree, but I don't like to try anything on at the store. There's something about their mirrors that prevent anything from looking good on me. So I purchase 10 or more items at one time, take them home, try them on, keep what I like, and return the rest. Most of the time, almost 90% of what I just purchased goes back. Sometimes it's 100%. Rarely do I ever keep more than I return. I taught my kids and husband, do not remove the tags from your clothes until you decide you're going to wear them. Thus, we have clothes in our closets from years ago with tags still attached. Even though time period for return has long passed, the outfit has never been worn. It goes to show how much we waste. I recently got rid of enough drinking glasses and dinner plates to stock someone's kitchen. My girlfriend told me that her son said she was a very organized hoarder. I told her so was I. I have storage boxes labeled with stuff from material to home decor. I have storage cabinets filled with art supplies and filmmaking equipment, office supplies, and many other things. I do use a lot of this stuff, so I guess that's not really hoarding. And now that the declutter and the organization of my home has begun, these things are neatly stored away in easy to find locations. I believe everything needs a place and everything should be in that place. However, I hate stopping when I'm in the middle of a creative project to organize things. In college, I had a professor that drilled into our heads that the role of a manager is to plan, organize, and control. That has stuck with me since those college days. I remember little else from college, but boy, that is in my brain because he repeated it every class and required us to say it back to him. He would say, "What is the role of the manager?" And we would repeat the mantra back to him. There's no way you couldn't ace his exams because they were basically repeating what he had taught up to that point. His name was Dr. Adler. I don't remember many other teachers from college, but he was unforgettable. He was a tough teacher. He said the only excused absences from his class were if you were dead, in the hospital, or it snowed. Because if it snowed, you would be dead if you drove to class. Where I live, we don't drive in the snow, even if it's 1/4 of an inch. But I digress. I need to streamline this podcast and get back on topic. Like I said, I think everything needs a space if you're going to keep it, and everything needs to be in its place. When my mother-in-law passed away, she was a crafter too. One day, I was cleaning out one of her closets, and I found not just duplicates or triplicates of things like scissors, but probably 5 or more of the same item. Reason being is because when she cleaned up, she would just stuff things away and never remember where she put them. Then she'd have to go purchase those same items when she needed them. We gave away boxes and boxes of craft items that had multiples of the same thing. Seriously, we could have opened a craft store with all the stuff. I'm guilty of doing the exact same thing. When I can't find something that I need in the moment, I go buy a new one. Recently, I was making cookies and I wanted to use my cookie scoop. I knew I had one somewhere, but prior to organizing my kitchen, I couldn't find this silly scoop. Guess what? I went and bought a new one. Come to find out, not only did I have one, but I had 2. Now I have 3 cookie scoops. That is why my policy is everything has a place and everything has to be in that place. Prior to my kitchen drawer declutter, I purchased these clear plastic drawer organizers. I love them. They're all clear, and at a glance, you can see everything that's tucked away in there. I meticulously organized all of my kitchen utensils. Oh, I gave away a lot of kitchen utensils during this process. My sweet husband empties the dishwasher every morning. I never ask him, he just does it. I appreciate his effort. However, he doesn't always put stuff in the proper location that has been designated for it. So when I start making dinner or baking something, I have to hunt for a particular item. I may even have to ask him, "Honey, do you know where you place the kitchen scissors or vegetable peeler?" He usually can find exactly where he put it. Then I'll show him where it's supposed to go. He still doesn't always put it in the proper place. That's okay because I eventually find it. It's a learning curve for him. I now tell him that if he's unsure of the location, to just put it on a towel on the table and I will put it away. I'm just grateful to have such a helpful husband. But I must say that streamlining my kitchen utensils and organizing my drawers sure makes cooking a lot less stressful. Occasionally, I like to paint or draw. My home is filled with pictures that I've painted in watercolors or acrylics. In fact, I've placed myself on a painting freeze because I don't have any wall space left for another picture. Prior to reorganizing and decluttering, I had trouble finding where I put all my brushes and drawing pads and all things art related. They were scattered here and there in my basement. While I am so thankful to have a basement, it had become a catch-all. Don't know what to do with something? Just put it in the basement. Well, I decided enough clutter was enough, and I took the bull by the horns and began digging through the mess. Now I know where my art supplies are anytime I want to use them. I have to confess that I hate doing this, but I love the results. and my life is so much less stressful. It allows me to have the freedom to create. Physical clutter is not the only thing that keeps me distracted. There are many other areas that I need to streamline in my life. My eating habits, my exercise habits, my TV viewing habits, my cell phone scrolling habits, and even my thoughts can all clutter up my life. By streamlining these areas, I can select what is beneficial to moving me in a forward direction versus what keeps me stuck. Negativity is probably one of the most cluttering things that can come into my life. It is like having my mind filled with unhealthy debris. Emotional distractions will keep you from doing what God has called you to do. It is a great weapon of the enemy. God tells us to put on His armor so that we can stand firm against the wiles of the devil. These are tactics used by Satan to deceive, tempt, or render us useless for God's kingdom. Ephesians 6 says, put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. One of the pieces of the armor of God is the helmet of salvation. A helmet protects our head. Satan is after our mind. He's a liar and a deceiver. Have you ever had a thought come in your head and you wonder, where did that come from? It's probably the devil placing that random thought in your head. Ever think negative thoughts about yourself? Yep, that's the devil. God wouldn't put negative thoughts in your head. He made you in His image. He knit you together in your mother's womb. He loves you so much, He sent His precious Son to die for you and pave a way for salvation so you can spend eternity with Him. No way would He tell you that you're stupid or ugly, untalented, worthless, not good enough, or whatever other negative thought the devil throws at you. We have to declutter our thoughts. 2 Corinthians 10:5 says we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. God wants us to get shed of those negative thoughts and arguments. We have to streamline our minds. The Lord wants us to focus on those things that are life-giving. In Romans 8:5, we read, those who live according to the flesh have their minds set on what the flesh desires, but those who live according to the Spirit have their minds set on what the Spirit desires. What are you living according to? The flesh or God's Spirit? Colossians 3:2 tells us, set your minds on the things above, not on earthly things. Philippians 4:8 says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever's true, whatever's noble, whatever's right, whatever's pure, whatever's lovely, whatever's admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. We need to declutter from our minds anything that keeps us from focusing on God, His righteousness, His word, or His calling on our life. What do you need to streamline in your life so that you can be used to your full potential and live a life of joy and peace as you serve the Lord the way He's called you to serve Him? Start becoming mindful of those things that distract you from living the best life you can. Sometimes you need to get quiet and allow the Lord to speak to you so that you know what needs to be removed. If you ask Him, He will certainly tell you. Happy decluttering, and until next time, stay lightly salted.
This podcast is the opinion of Debbie Harmon and is for entertainment purposes only. Nothing is intended as medical, professional, psychological, theological, or any other professional advice. If you would like to see more of Debbie's products, visit her website at www.entertainmentwithamessage.com or www.ewamtv.com. This podcast is copyright protected and cannot be reused without written permission from its owner, Debbie Harmon. Please invite your friends to listen to this podcast. And don't forget to subscribe and give us a like. Thank you for listening to Lightly Salted.